The morning after the party, Mona sat in her apartment with cucumbers on her eyes, trying to recover from the lavender hangover. The truth about her mother's lie still felt like a raw wound, but the new Mona was trying to heal. Negativity, she whispered to the empty room. I'm kicking you in the man parts. The doorbell rang. It was Spencer, carrying a brown paper bag that smelled like grease and salvation. Breakfast of champions, he said, handing her a bacon and egg sandwich. And I have a gift, a real one. He pulled out a small, wrapped box. Inside was a Kekana miniature, sparkly pink tassel. You're a dead man, Mona said, but she was laughing. The new Mona has a sense of humor, I see, Spencer said, sitting on her mismatched sofa. So, how does it feel, being the sister of a law school prodigy and the daughter of a woman who tells creative truths? It feels like I'm finally out of the attic, Mona said, taking a bite of her sandwich. Metaphorically, at least. I'm still living in one, but the view is better. Later that day, she found a gift from Dee Dee outside her door. It was a framed photo, a grainy shot from the Sucktacular of '85. They were both crying, their faces smeared with cake, but they were holding hands. Look how cute we were, the note read. Me and my tiara. You and your little brown corrective shoes. They were white until the pony wandered over. Thanks for the memories, sister. Here's to 25 more. Mona looked at the photo for a long time. She realized that while she had spent her life mourning the family she thought she lost, she was finally starting to build the family she actually had. Chapter 9, M&Ms and Milestones. Life at Delicious Records didn't slow down for personal growth. The video for Danny's Seat on My Love was a hit, but the success brought more pressure. Mona, I need those blue M and M separated. Her boss screamed through the intercom. Danny's ego has expanded, and he now believes blue sugar gives him writer's block. Mona stood in the break room, her hands covered in blue dye. I'm an A&R executive, she muttered. I discover the future of music, and here I am, racially profiling candy. Dee Dee walked in, her power suit fitting like butter. She was there to pick up Mona for a lunch date. Mona Thorne, what are you doing? Dee Dee asked, horrified. Sorting. It's in his contract. He doesn't like to mix his food groups. That is a violation of human rights, Dee Dee said, reaching for a blue M&M and eating it. And delicious. Come on, leave the candy. You're coming to lunch. I can't, Dee Dee. My job is riding on this. No, your fear is riding on this, Dee Dee corrected. The new Mona doesn't sort M and Miss She delegates. Mona looked at the bowl, then at her sister. She pressed the intercom button. Vince, I'm going to lunch. If Dante wants the blue ones, tell him to write a song about them. She grabbed her purse and walked out, leaving the bowl of blue candy on the table. As they walked toward the elevator, Mona felt a strange sense of lightness. "So, where are we going?" she asked. "A little place I know," Dee Dee said. "They have great salads, even better cocktails, and absolutely no periwinkle napkins." Mona laughed, the sound echoing through the polished hallways of the record company. The road ahead was still full of Thorne family drama, industry egos, and cramped apartments, but for the first time, she wasn't walking it alone. The Thorne sisters were in the building, and San Francisco would never be the same. Two's company, three's a crowd, the Santa Monica Chronicles. Chapter 1, The Keeper of the Gates. The sun dipped low over the Santa Monica coastline, casting long, golden fingers across the stucco facades of the apartment complexes lining the shore. The air was thick with the scent of salt spray and the faint, greasy aroma of fish and chips from the nearby pier. At the Roper residence, located on the ground floor of a modest but well-kept building, the atmosphere was considerably less serene. Stanley Roper, a man whose fashion sense had peaked in 1954 and stayed there out of sheer spite, paced the living room. His brow was furrowed, his lips pursed in a permanent expression of fiscal anxiety. Stanley was a landlord by trade and a curmudgeon by calling. He viewed his tenants not as residents, but as ticking time bombs of property damage and late rent payments. "Be quiet, Helen," Stanley hissed, glancing toward the hallway. "You're gonna wake Karen." Helen Roper sat on the floral-patterned sofa, vigorously filing a nail that had betrayed her earlier that afternoon. She looked up, her eyes narrowing behind a pair of oversized, fashionable glasses. "Filing my nails is gonna wake up your niece. Stanley, don't be ridiculous." "It's not the filing, it's the breaking," Stanley retorted, his voice rising despite his own warning. "Every time you break a nail, you swear loud enough to wake the dead. That's probably what got you up in the first place." Helen sighed, a sound of long-suffering endurance. "Just hold it down, will you? The poor girl flew in all the way from New York. She's exhausted. You've heard of jet lag, haven't you?" Stanley snorted. "Heard of it? I married it. You've been in a state of suspended animation since the Ford administration." "Very funny, Stanley. Truly," Helen said, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "But seriously, Karen is trying to adjust to a new time zone. And more importantly, she's trying to adjust to living the life of a nun under your roof." Stanley stopped pacing and turned to face his wife, his thumbs tucked into his waistband. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means you never let her out of your sight. You're more like her jailer than her uncle. The girl is young, beautiful, and in the most exciting city in the world. And what have you done? You've treated her like a high-security prisoner." "That's ridiculous," Stanley protested, throwing his hands up. "She's having a good time. I've been a model host." "She's having a boring time, Stanley. Capital B, boring. Boring. How can you say that? Stanley's voice hit a pitch